right, so I am crazy excited for this event for a lot of reasons. It's morphed 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 times between when we rented this space like a year ago till today. So it's changed a lot. And a lot of it is because of interactions with each of you guys here. I have a chance, most of you guys to talk on Voxer at least once or twice, or some of you guys every day, multiple times a day. But it's been nice because one of my favorite things about the coaching program is I feel like I have my pulse on I can feel like the pulse of what's happening, what people are struggling with, like the pros, the cons, and people that are following stuff we're talking about, things that aren't working, what is and what the differences are. And so I've been thinking a lot about that and trying to figure out how do we put together something that's just gonna make the process really, really simple, right? And I started writing my next book called Expert Secrets, which if you've looked at the front of your binder, you notice that's also the name on the binder. So I started writing my Expert Secrets book, and we're about 220 pages into it. And if any of you guys follow me on Snapchat, last month I got frustrated and I highlighted the whole thing and I deleted the whole thing, except for the first 6 pages. They were really good. After that, I was like, and I was frustrated because I was like, this book is really, really good, but I don't really want to write a really good book. Like I want to write an amazing book. And so I started the whole thing over. And part of it is actually, Nick doesn't know this, it was a conversation with you that made me want to start the whole thing over. So I deleted the whole thing, so this is his fault. And started putting this whole outline together. And as I was rewriting the book and kind of getting the whole process in place, I started digging really, really deep and changed the whole, and I kind of built a whole outline. In fact, this is my 9-page outline for the book, and I started putting all the pieces in and really going deep on things I had never really gone deep on with people before. And I was doing that while this event was coming up, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take this chance where the event is going to be this similar stuff that I'm showing in the book, because that's where my mind's at right now, and it's going to go deep into a whole bunch of really cool things, and I'm excited for it. So also with this event, it's going to be half the time me talking, half the time you guys actually working and doing stuff, so don't get too comfortable because you guys have to work as well. It's not just me. What else? So that's kind of the overarching concept. We're going to be talking about specifically about one type of funnel for this event, which is the perfect webinar funnel. But the concepts that we're going to be talking about tomorrow, a lot today. Today we're going to be going deep into what gets people to buy and helping you guys really understand that at a deeper level. And then tomorrow's going to be a lot about writing the stories and the scripts and all the things you need to really connect with your audience and a whole bunch of really cool things from there. And then Saturday, we're going to be actually focusing on the build out of a webinar funnel and using the perfect webinar script and all those kind of things. So I'm excited, and we're going to be going deeper than I've ever gone on a lot of these concepts because, like Dave said, I was in the air for 56 hours listening to everything I've ever downloaded on 4x speed. And so I was just cramming through some stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about all these amazing things. And anyway, it's gonna be really cool. All right, so the concept of this event and also the new book is this, Expert Secrets. It's, if you've read the .com Secrets book, this is kind of, I don't know if it's the prequel or the post-quel. Sequel, that's the right word. There's a prequel and a sequel. .com Secrets is a little more about overarching strategies, right? So here's all funnel concepts and the higher end. This one's going very specific on one funnel type, which is an expert funnel, and it's focusing on the perfect webinar funnel. So that's what the book is about, the event. Because the biggest thing with the .com Secrets book is it gave a whole bunch of things, and I think a lot of people were like, this is awesome, but I don't know where to start. This book's here's where to start. Here's the path and the process, and if you can understand and really master these things, it makes everything just awesome. So we're going to be walking through basically how to take your message and monetize it to the world. And so day number 1, we're going to be talking about you as an expert. Day number 2, we're going to be, the title of day number 2 is Inception Secrets, which we're going to show you guys basically all the stories and all the things you need to be able to sell without actually selling. And then day number 3 is the perfect webinar. So that's kind of what we're going to be covering over the next 3 days. All right, so to begin with, a lot of you guys know my story, but I'm going to just kind of restate it for the few who may not. I got started in this business, it's been about 13 years ago now, which is crazy because I don't feel like it's been that long. But I got started, I remember the first thing, I didn't know anything about business at all. I just remember I wanted to make some money, and so my first idea was I'm going to go to the thrift store and buy a bunch of crap, and then I'll sell it on eBay. Smart, right? So I drive to, the first week I moved here in Boise, I was living by the university, and I had a bike. I didn't have a car yet. I didn't know anybody in Boise. I didn't have cell phones back then. And all I knew was, like, I got to start a business. So I jumped on my bike. I had a backpack, and I had a map. Do you guys remember maps? I had this big old map. And there were two thrift stores next to each other. One called DI, which is like a Mormon thrift store, and then one called Savers, which is like everywhere, right? And they're right next door to each other. So I'm like, I'm going to go on this trip, and I'm going to go buy a bunch of crap and sell it on eBay. So I jump on my bike, and I got my map, and I'm driving, and it was clear across Boise. It's not close at all. So it took me all day driving this place. I finally found it, and then I'm going and I'm finding all this stuff, and I'm like, I thought I knew everything. Like, I remember looking, and I was going through, I'm like, oh, I found this old record, like a Michael Jackson record. I'm like, oh, people listen to stuff for like $500 on eBay. I know it. So I bought like this Michael Jackson record, like big old record. And I bought books, and I bought like everything I thought people would buy, and I threw it in my backpack, and like I bought way too much stuff. So it didn't fit in my backpack, and then I had sacks on both my handle of my bike, and I had all this stuff, right? And then I had to figure out how to get back home. So I'm driving my bike back home, and then the first thing that happens is I had two pedals, and one of my pedals broke off, which I didn't know that was even possible. So it broke off, and I'm like, what the crap am I supposed to do? So I'm like going with one pedal, like trying to like keep it going really fast, you know? It was horrible. And then I drove by Home Depot. I'm like, oh, so I went to Home Depot and I bought a big screw, and I screwed it through like the pedal hole. So I had this like screw for a pedal on my other foot. So I'm like, okay, I'm back in business. I'm going. And then there was a Burger King being built, and they had this like dirt, the grass was all dirt at the time. So I went and I'm going to shortcut through the thing. So I take this little shortcut, and I come through the shortcut, I look down, and both my tires are flat from like thousands of thorns. And I was like, oh crap. So I got off, and I started just walking my bike, and I didn't really know, I didn't have a phone, I didn't know my address, I just knew I was like that direction. So I'm walking, and it starts getting darker and darker outside, and then I'm on this like really shady street, and this guy comes up to me, and he comes up, you know, with his hoodie on. He's like, hey man, you got some money? I was like, are you kidding me? If I had money, do you think that I'd have two flat tires? I'd have bags full of crap. Like I was just like, I yelled at him because I was like so mad. I'm like, dude, if I had money, the first thing I'd do is I'd get air in my tires. I would not be giving it to you. So anyway, so I'm walking across, and finally I end up getting back to my apartment really late, like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. Get there. And then that night, I remember setting up all this stuff on my little countertop and getting my little phone out at the time, taking pictures of each thing, listing them all on eBay, and my Michael Jackson record that I thought was going to go for $500 went for like $1.17, I think. Everything didn't work, and I remember after I sold all this stuff, I didn't make any money, and then I had to like find boxes to box a record, and then a box, and I'm on my bike driving around town trying to find boxes, and it was the worst experience. I'm selling all this stuff. I remember I was sitting at the post office, like 15 random weird-shaped boxes, trying to ship them out. And I see this guy there's got this big old box full of thousands of little CDs, and he comes and he drops them off, and they just take all these CDs, all the same shape and size. And I was like, and so I asked him, like, hey man, what's that? He's like, oh, it's my business. I'm like, well, what are you selling? He's like, oh, I sell info products on CDs. I was like, so how info? Like, I didn't understand. I'm like, what do you mean info products? He's like, yeah, this is like. There weren't ebooks back then, but he's like, yeah, it's info product. I just burn a CD. I have a CD burner. I just burn CDs when orders come in, and then I stack them up and I ship them out. I was like, that sounds way easier than what I'm doing. I didn't know that was possible. So I was like, well, I don't really know anything. I got to figure out like what can I sell? And that started me down this path of like learning about information marketing. People are selling stuff, and so I'm learning about all these things, and I'm like, this is so cool. I wish I knew how to do anything so I could sell something. Like I didn't have any skills at all other than wrestling. That was about it. And so I was wrestling at Boise State. I was trying to learn internet marketing, info marketing. I was trying all these things. Nothing really worked. I remember buying a bunch of resale rights to info products. I'm like, oh, that's the secret. So I like bought like 5,000 resale rights products, and I'd burn them on a CD. And I was like, hey, you get 5,000 products and that never worked. I tried all sorts of things. And then one day, it was spring break, and my buddy Nate and I were the only two guys on the wrestling team who were married. Everyone else was not married. So wrestling season ends in March is when the NCAA tournament happens, and then spring break's the week after. So spring break, everyone leaves Boise, they go to Vegas, they do what people do in Vegas, they have parties, they have fun, they do all sorts of stuff. So everyone on the wrestling team, all my friends left except for me and Nate, because our wives, we were the only two guys who were married, and we were the only two wives who had jobs, and if we would have went on this party trip while our wives were working, they probably not would have been there when we got back. So we were like sitting there like, oh, like everyone's having fun, we're stuck here because our wives are working, supporting us. We're so upset at that. Such a good husband, huh? Honestly. And so we're sitting there like just hanging out, and Nate's like, hey man, have you ever made a potato gun? like, no, what's that? He's like, there's like these potato guns, and you can glue them together and you can shoot potatoes. And I'm like, dude, I'm in, let's do it. And so we took our wives' credit cards because they were making the money. We went to Home Depot and we bought the pipes, and we spent the next week building out potato guns. Super fun. And then the next Monday I was back in school, and I remember sitting there thinking about my business, and all of a sudden I had the epiphany, like the light bulb moment, where I was like, I wonder if anyone else besides me was searching for potato guns this week. I don't know. So I went on to Overture back then, and I searched, and there were about 18,000 people a month searching for potato gun plans and spud guns and a whole bunch of things like that. And I was like, that's it. That's gonna be my business. I'm gonna potato gun expert. And so I went and called Nate back up, said, I'll give you $100 if you help me build a potato gun. He's like, I'll build a potato gun for free. Like, you don't have to pay me. I'm like, sweet, because I don't have $100. And we filmed ourselves making the DVD. Did you guys all get the DVD when you were at Fun Hacking? And you guys actually watch it after? You guys did? I had a couple people like sending me videos of them watching it. It was so funny. I'm like, oh, so embarrassing. But that was my first info product I ever sold. And it didn't make me a millionaire, but it helped me see the process all the way through, from like idea to creation of the product to doing all the things. And I did the things the best I could at the time and launched that and made some money, and kind of got me addicted to the whole information marketing business. And since then, the last 12 or 13 years since that happened, it's kind of become an obsession of mine. Like, I've focused a lot on that for myself, for friends, for clients, and stuff like that. And so while we do things in a lot of businesses, we do things with e-commerce, we do things with supplements, we do things with brick and mortar, like we do things a lot of ways. For me, my favorite is and probably always will be information marketing. And it's something that I love, and I love the profit margins. I love how when you do this right, I love how you can affect and change people's lives. That's really what gets me the most excited. And so my goal from the next 3 days is, if I can give you guys some tools and some things that'll help you to change more people's lives in your world, then for me that's a huge win. So that's kind of the goal. And by the way, that is the actual ratio for your barrel to chamber ratio for the potato gun people. If you do it longer than that, your potato bag, blah, blah, blah. If you do it shorter than that, your thing might blow up in your face. So memorize that formula. We'll be testing on it later. Yes, pi r squared times length. I think. All right. So to preface this, because some of you guys are like, Russell, this is cool, but I'm not an expert business. I don't want to do info products. So just want to preface this ahead of time. There's two types of expert businesses. The first one is the traditional one we think of, is where we are selling information products, right? This is one that's the more traditional. So selling coaching, books, seminars, webinars, info products, right? So that one's what most people think of. The second one is using info products as the fuel for a regular business. Okay, so if you've got any other kind of business, info products can become one of the best things to dramatically scale those businesses. And I'll kind of show you some examples here in a minute. All right, so first talk about selling info products. All right, so here's an example of a typical info product sales funnel and value ladder. So, and you guys ever heard of Tony Robbins before? Only him? You hung out with Tony last month, right? All right, so was he pretty cool? Is he taller than you thought in life? His head's like weird, like, yeah, and his teeth, you're just like, your teeth are the size of my fingers. Anyway, he's amazing. So if you look at Tony has embraced the info product business for this company, right? So if you look at the front end of his businesses, he's got a bunch of books. He's got a whole bunch of them, right? So you come in, you read one of Tony's books. How many of you guys have read a Tony book? I actually have never read one of his books before. They're so thick. Anyway, to be completely honest. Comes in the books. From there, you get the courses. How many of you guys bought a Tony course? So that's where I started. I went to eBay one day. I heard my first Tony Robbins thing, and I was like, this guy's cool. So I went to eBay, and I bought every Tony Robbins course in one day, which was awesome. They all showed up within the next week, and I just went through, and I geeked out on Tony for like a month straight. I just immersed myself in his whole world, and that was me. I got that. Now, in Dot-Com Secrets book, we talk a lot about like value ladders and ascending people up. And that's happened for me. I went through the course, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I got so much value out of Tony and all this stuff that I gained from it. I wanted more. And so I naturally ascended up to the next thing, which were his live events. How many of you guys have been on his event and walked on fire? All right, if you haven't, like, you really should make a point of it before he dies or something happens. Like, amazing, right? Like, yeah, it's amazing. Just imagine. In fact, who wants to do a fire walk tonight? Mandy, can you help facilitate a fire walk tonight? Lights and fires, you guys. I'll teach you how it goes. But you go to this event, you walk on fire, and Tony in an event is 100,000 times better than Tony through book or through course. Like it's like night and day. Like Tony's courses are good. Tony on stage is the best that's ever been. Like it's a different experience. In his events, he upsells you to his Platinum Partner Program, which is like 60 or 70, 75,000 a year. Yeah, and so he sends people up. Only reason I haven't joined that yet is my wife told me that if I did, she would leave me because it's like every week, like 1 week a month for an entire year. So anyway, so that's kind of the progression of Tony. That's a typical info product business, right? And think about how many businesses you guys know that start with book, move to course, move to event, move to live coaching, okay? Here's another one, Robert Kiyosaki. We've been doing a bunch of work with them lately, which has been really cool. So he wrote a book. Now it's interesting, I didn't know this. We were at Kiyosaki's office. Dave and I were there about 2 months ago. And I assumed he wrote the book because he wanted to write a book. Is that what most of you guys assumed? Is that someone outside drilling? Okay, how many of you guys thought he wrote a book because he wanted to write a book? He didn't. So he made this game. Have you guys seen his game? So he wrote the game, and then like nobody understood how to play the game. So he's like, I'm gonna write a manual, teach people how to play the game. So he wrote this book, and the book, Oprah found it, told the world about it, and it blew up, and now he is Robert Kiyosaki. Start the book, then they move from the books to their courses to the live event. It's the same kind of process. All right, so there's like the value ladder for Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Dave Ramsey, we were talking, Dave Ramsey's company, they do, I think someone was telling me the other day, they do over $100 million a year all through info product sales. And their most expensive products like $300 or $400. Like it's crazy. And same thing, you go info products, upsell the online courses to live events, and then coaching, and they take you through the same value ladder. Okay? So what's cool about this whole info product business is that some businesses you got to figure out like what's the funnel going to look like, what's the sales process, how are things going to work. With this, it's really simple. Like it's the path has been laid over and over and over and over again. I've seen people using these models in everything from business coaching, life coaching, weight loss coaching, cooking coaching. Like the models work in almost anywhere. So it's nice because the path has been laid before us. All right. So number 2 now is using the info product business as fuel for your core business. Okay. How many of you guys are more on that side of it where you've got another business and you're trying to use info products as fuel? Okay. So we got about 20% that's your thing. So the biggest thing to understand for this, in the .com Secrets book, again, if you look at, in the intro I talked about, one of the first things I learned from Dan Kennedy. He said that whoever can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins, right? Have you guys heard me say that before? Whoever can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins, right? And if you look at typical, like we have a lot of people in ClickFunnels and stuff that do e-commerce things, right? In fact, a good example is just my supplement company. Like we had Neurocell, and we were driving things to sell our supplements. And the good news is we had a lot of volume, made a lot of money in that business. The bad news is the profit margins were horrible. We were on about a 15% profit margin. So while I always brag about our top line revenues, the actual profit in that business was never good, okay? Because there's fulfillment costs, there's shipping, there's printing, there's all these things, right? And so when we had that business, it was hard because the business took all those costs to like make the money. Where we started making money in that business is where we started adding info products either at the front of it, so we'd sell an info product first, break even, make money there, and then sell supplements on the back, or we sell supplements and then we sold info products on the back. But all of our profit in that business came from the info side of the business. It's kind of interesting. And so I'll show you guys some examples, but we understand like whoever can spend the most money to acquire a customer wins. So there's the vacant store with the frowny guy. And there's the full store with the rich guy. I love these sketches. They make me happy. All right, so a couple good examples of this. So Stronghold Financial Group, right? They are a typical financial group. I guess I don't really know much about finances. But they're a big financial group, right? And they were basically selling like most people do, doing the referrals and doing all these things, and they were slowly growing a good portfolio of customers, right? So they partnered with Tony Robbins. He wrote an info product book called Money Master the Game. How many of you guys read that book? Tony launches this book, does his whole Tony Robbins thing, and within 6 months of this book launching, they raised $9 billion in funding from people who read the info product book. And $9 billion. And all of those customers came for free. They didn't pay for any of them. All the money was made, Tony made money selling the book. They were profitable there, and all his customers flew over there, and it was just pure profit. No cost at all. Okay? So that's one good example of how that works. Supplements. Okay? If you look at Dave Asprey, So Dave has got a brick and mortar bulletproof store. He's got physical supplements. Okay, how many of you guys have bought a supplement from Bulletproof before? Okay, they got really good stuff. One thing, if you notice, they don't know how to sell their products. Like there's a picture and an order button, that's it. So you're like, their funnels are the worst in the world. How in the world are they making so much money? And the reason why is because by the time they get here, they don't have to sell them anything because they have built an info product business on the front end. So that at the end, there's like, hey, you should buy our supplements. And people just buy them without they don't need any selling or anything. So if you look at this, you go backwards, you look, okay, here's the supplement business. You step one step back, they've got an event, they do the biohacking summit. You go back, you got their book, and you go back, you got your podcast, your blog, and things like that. So they've taken this blog, that's him just blogging, and they built a following. And from there, they've launched a podcast, grew a following, wrote a book, and all this stuff's happening. And then when they launch the supplements and things, they don't even have to have a funnel. They just in fact, Dave, look how he launches the supplements now. He posts on Facebook, hey, we just finished the supplement. Here's an order link. That's it. And they're killing it. Yeah.
Big article in USA Today about him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Without putting butter in your... All right, so selling supplements. So just think about any of your businesses, like we look at our typical value ladder, take your business here and then how do we step it back and how do we create some kind of info product business that you can make your money, break even, be profitable here. So anything that happens in your core business, all the customers are coming to you for free. It's not costing you anything for those people. All right, local services. This is an accounting firm, and we have a Provision. So this is interesting. So these guys, I think they're in Arizona, and people will actually fly from New York. And in New York, how many accounting services do you think there are? 100,000 maybe? They'll get a plane, they'll fly over New York, they'll pass all those, and then they go to the next state, and they'll fly over all these states, literally passing hundreds of thousands of accountants to land here and give these guys their money. Can you imagine if that was your business? If you were a chiropractor in town and someone will go through drive past 50 chiropractors to get to you, okay? Or they'll fly from state to state to get to you even though they're passing hundreds of your competitors. How do you do that, right? Well, this one, it's because Tom Wheelwright partnered with Rich Dad Poor Dad. They wrote a book called Tax-Free Wealth, a couple different books as well, launched that, positioned himself as an expert, and now people will go and spend 100 times more money, drive and fly insane amounts of distances to give them their money than anyone else. Do you think that they're better at accounting than any of the other accountants along the way? Maybe, probably not. Because they use this whole expert secrets idea to position themselves as an expert, to brand themselves, to get customers and clients in really, really inexpensively. Okay, so those are a couple of examples to kind of think through. Oh, same thing, network marketing. Have you guys done an MLM before? No. It's like 4 that'll admit it. Bart will admit it. All right, so network marketing is another thing, right? Every time we get network marketers in our groups, and they're always like, what's the secret network marketing funnel? And I'm like, the secret is don't do network marketing because there's no profit on the front end. That's the biggest problem, right? Because our supplement business, we had 100% margins and we still only got to keep 15% because they add costs and everything else, right? In network marketing, you might be making 10% commission on your sales. It's impossible to be profitable. And so what do you do, right? So if you look at this and talk about the expert thing, you step your way back. A good example, some of my friends, Bill and Michelle Pesco-Solido, since I've known them, they've been active top money earners in these 4 companies and probably more that I don't even know of. And they did it by creating info products, position themselves as experts, selling the crap out of the info products, build a huge audience, people, and then every month they're like, hey, join this network marketing program. And everyone does. And then when they get bored, and they move to the next one, and they just keep doing it over and over and over again. Okay, when you position yourself as an expert, you have info products to break even and make profitable. Now, the next sale is 100% profit, and that's the whole key. That's why using info products in conjunction with any other business is such a cool thing. And both from the standpoint of making your money up front, selling the info products, breaking even, and also from positioning it in a posturing standpoint. You can actually position yourself as an expert, and people are more likely to pay you versus anybody else. All right. Now, with that said, this event, we're going to be talking, how to explain this the right way. So if you read the .com Secrets book, we talk about a bunch of types of funnels, right? And front-end funnels, and then middle of the value ladder funnels, and back-end funnels. We kind of move through this process. For this event, we're going to be talking about this middle of the value ladder. And I think one of the things about the .com Secrets book that, since I wrote it, it's been frustrating to me is that not everyone, but a lot of people think that if I'm going to be successful in this business, I have to start here and then move here and then move here. They have to everyone thinks they have to have a tripwire or a thing like that. And I've had people that are spending years writing books before they launch anything because they think that's where they need to start. And if you look at this, a couple things. If you guys haven't read the Dot-Com Secrets book now, you're going to fail this test, just saying. Okay, so we talked about, over here we got cold traffic, then you got warm, that's an M, and from here we go to hot, right? And so in the book I talk about, typically people come into your world and they're cold, and so you give them something, they get value, and they naturally want to send up to the next thing, and they naturally want it, and the people will keep ascending through this process, right? And so a lot of people think okay, cool, well, to get people to buy a high ticket thing, they have to come through here and move their way up. And the reality is that's not necessarily true. So for example, if you look at this, we got tripwires down here, and here we got a webinar, and here we got a high ticket. How do I explain this the right way? The sales process is different at each of these levels, right? Here, they're typically coming to a page, they're reading a little bit of copy, and then they're giving you money, and usually it's a lower ticket thing, right? So that there's not much resistance. Here, in a webinar, it's free for them to come in, but they're spending 90 minutes with you, right? That 90 minutes that you have is sending someone from cold to warm to hot in a very finite, short period of time, right? So that's why it's possible to drive traffic here, cold traffic here, and it still works. It's because the sales process takes 90 minutes to convert somebody, warm them up, and get them to buy. Same thing here, high ticket stuff is typically sold on the phone. And so when Randy and Derek get on the phone with somebody, that's what they're doing. They're taking a cold prospect and warming them up and getting them hot over in a phone conversation. Does that make sense? And so you don't always have to start here or here or here. You can start each one because the sales process is, for each of these, is set up in a way that's similar to someone just naturally ascending through. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, like I said, so that's why we're focusing on this. For example, when Liz Benny first joined the Inner Circle program, and the first thing I told her is you need to do a webinar. She's like, Russell, I can't do a webinar. I need to write a book first or get some kind of front end, and then I can send up to a webinar. I'm like, no, I want you to start just the webinar. And she was kind of frustrated, and she's like, but I need a tripwire, I need a front end. I'm like, that's good, but for you, this is going to be the fastest way to make money. It's going to be the fastest path to cash. Let's focus here first. So do that first, and then, and I've told a bunch of you guys here, I can't even see their faces right now, 5 or 6 of you guys here, I've told you, I'm thinking of, I was like, so I told Liz, she did a webinar, the first webinar crushed it, she made a bunch of money, and then she's like, okay, cool, now I'm ready to do my high ticket thing, I'm ready to do a front end. I'm like, no, you are not allowed to move to funnel number 2 until you've made at least what? $1 million. So you make $1 million, then you can focus on a high ticket or front, whatever else you want to do. And her as an entrepreneur, and us and everybody here as entrepreneurs, we're like, no, we want to create the next thing. We want to, we get our rush off of the creation of the new thing, right? I'm like, no, we got to focus. So you made $1 million here, Liz, then you do the next thing. So she did, then she launched a high ticket thing. She's crushed that. She's doing that right now. She launched a new webinar. Now she's adding other pieces in. But don't think you have to build the whole value ladder to be successful. You just got to pick one, and the one that I want to focus on, because it's the one that I think is the best for all of us to lead and begin with, is the webinar funnel. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on now for the next year of all of our lives, and then after you guys have each made $1 million, then we can talk about the second step. Sound fair? All right, good. All right, so I'm going to recap kind of the model so you guys understand this really quick, and then we'll dig into the details of it. So this is kind of the model. I did a podcast January of this year where I was ranting about this. Do you guys listen to it? It's 12 minutes long and be talking about this. I said, this is the model for the next 12 months of all of our lives. I'm going to do it. I want everyone else to do it, and this is what it is. It says, we need a front-end webinar, and that every single week we're promoting it. Okay, one of the biggest problems us as entrepreneurs, internet entrepreneurs have is that we spend all this time creating a really good sales process. We launch it, and then we're looking, again, for the next thing. First time I met a lady named Mary Ellen Tribby, and Mary Ellen, she started working for, she went and started working for Weiss Publishing. I think it was Weiss, and they're a financial newsletter, and they were doing, I think at the time, $8 or $9 million a year. She came in within 18 months, they were at 70 or $80 million. Then she went over to Agora Publishing for the Early to Rise division, I think, and same thing, they came in, they were doing $3 or4 million a year. She came in within 2 years, they were doing $60 million. And then she left after that, and she's done a couple other businesses like that. And I asked her, I was like, so what's the secret? How do you go from 6 to 60 in a year and a half? Because that'd be awesome. How many of you guys want that? Okay. So I asked her that, and she said, I still remember this day, she said, you know what, you internet marketers are so smart and you're so stupid at the same time. She's like, what you guys do is you do the equivalent of going and like creating a play, right? So you write the best scripts, you hire script writers, write these amazing scripts, and you hire the best actors and actresses to do it, and then you practice and you audition, and you get things perfect, and then you decide to put on a show in Boise, Idaho, you promote it like crazy for a month, everyone shows up, you got everyone in here, you do this amazing show, it ends, everyone's clapping, huge standing ovation. Next day, the newspapers write about how great of a show it was, and then the next morning, you start writing your next play. And she's like, that's what all of you guys do. She says, the only thing I do, I just take that play that you ran in Boise, Idaho, and I take it on the road. I take it to Chicago, and then to LA, and I just take it across the place. She said, that's the big secret. And so for me, when I got that, I said, because I would write a new webinar every single month. I do a webinar, and I launch it, make some money, and the next month I write a new webinar. I kept doing like new stuff. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, I got to take the show on the road. And this is about the time we were launching ClickFunnels. And so I said, okay, I'm going to create this webinar. We got this thing working at first. I said, okay, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to focus on it for a year and see what'll happen. And so we kind of set this process. I think I've done the webinar live probably 60-something times now. And this is the process. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and up to Thursday, we promote the webinar. Okay, pretend like it's a show. It's a Broadway show, right? The show's on Thursday night. You got to spend time and energy and effort and money promoting it to get people to show up. So you spend all the week promoting. Thursday shows up, and we do the show. Okay, and we do it live. Okay, why? Because every single time you do it live, you're going to learn more. You're going to learn new things that work, things that didn't work. So we do the show live. And then after the show is live, then on Friday we do replays. Saturday and Sunday we do replays. We push urgency and scarcity really, really hard. And that's the whole model. Then Sunday ends, the offer ends or expires for everyone who's in that cycle. It starts over again on Monday. We start promoting again. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, promote like crazy. Live webinar, replay, weekend, follow-up, close. And that's how it is. How many of you guys now are doing that model right now? Yeah? Cool. 3 of you guys? I've been talking about this for a year. Anyway, I'm just saying. And then you will do it every week for the rest of your lives, right? Good. So we did it with ClickFunnels, and this little company, this little startup we started 2 years ago, went from zero. Year one, I can't remember if it was between $12 and $13 million made year one, just doing this consistently. This year will probably be $30 to $40 million, and it keeps growing from there. And it all comes down to consistency, to us taking the show on the road and focusing on bringing new people in. Okay, if this becomes the focus of your business, this is the secret sauce. This is it. Great questions. The question, so I'll get to the camera, is why do we not start immediately promoting Friday for the next webinar? And the reason why is we were doing, we started testing like show-up rates and stuff, and the longer you promote the webinar, people forget really, really fast. And if it was more than like 2 or 3 days before the webinar, like the show-up rates were almost nothing. Like it was horrible. And so, so you can't really Facebook doesn't like you turning ads off and on. So like when we transition from there, then we start driving them to like the replay page directly during the day, and then Monday starts again for the new registration. Because that way you're like turning on, off. But yeah, if people's attention spans are so short, like we've got 2 to 3 day window where we can capture them, they're going to remember. You go further than that, and it doesn't last long. People's attention spans. Yeah.
Don't you get more sales also on Saturday and Sunday from the people that attended?
Yeah, so our model, like if you look at what we're looking for, is typically whatever we sell live on the webinar Thursday, we will double that during the Friday, Saturday, Sunday sequence. And so that's kind of those are kind of the metrics. If you're not doubling it, that's like to focus on that because you should be. Some people make more during the replay sequence than the live one. You should at least be doubling it. Yeah.
You just said, I want to make sure you said this. You said you don't turn the ad off. You just redirect it to the replay page.
Yeah.
For those 3 days, and then on Monday you redirect it to the live page.
Yep. Yeah. Her question was, make sure we get the cameras, was so on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the ads you redirect them to the replay page, and then on Sunday, then you restart it back over on Monday at the registration page. Yeah.
Are you keeping your ad budget the same when you're just promoting the replay, or are you just kind of like keeping it on and just keeping it going?
Definitely a John question. I have no idea. So John actually runs the ad. I know I kept telling everyone to shut their ads off on Thursday, and John's like, we don't shut our ads off on Thursday. You can't do that. I'm like, really? I'm like, what do you use? Like, I just push them to the replay page. I'm like, oh, that makes way more sense. So yeah, because I got in trouble from him for telling people to shut them off early. Yeah.
You keep the same targeting for those Monday through Wednesday every single week that you want?
Yeah, good question for John. John saying yes?
Yeah, so the question was, if we keep the same targeting, yeah, we tend to keep the same targeting until it burns out, and at that point, we might switch the ads or switch the targeting. What was the other question? No, same ad. Yeah, we're too lazy to reread another ad.
Not too lazy, too efficient.
Yeah, exactly. It's efficient. If it's working, it's working.
It's all in the words. Just kidding. Does the ad budget change during
No,
the
we don't
weekend?
change it. Yeah, changing the ad budget, that's a whole conversation, but yeah, you can't adjust it very much without consequences.
Great questions. Does redirect happen on the ClickFunnels side, or do you change the link where the ad's going to?
ClickFunnels side.
ClickFunnels side. We'll dig deeper into stuff on Saturday. We'll dig deeper into the model and the funnels and stuff. Do you make them opt into the replay page?
Yeah, so it's they have to opt in, and they have to, we have to capture that email, and then they get to see the
Registration.
replay.
Cool. One good thing, if you guys are doing this every single week, after the first week, take one of your, take whatever webinar converts the best and make that an auto webinar, and then just redirect to the auto webinar page during those days. It'd be pretty easy to do too. Okay, we'll get deeper into the model as well. I wanted to show us up front because I want everyone's minds thinking through this as we're digging deeper through all this stuff, because this is the basis of how the whole thing works. For the people that have been doing this, and it's been funny how hard it is for me to convince people to do this. But the people that have been consistently doing it have been crushing it. Brandon and Kaylin, who are in the inner circle, they weren't able to come today, but they heard me mention that in January on my podcast. And so they're like, all right, Russell said do it, we're going to do it. So they've been one live every single week since January, when I did that. And when I met them at Funnel Hacking Live event, they were doing $100,000 a month. They just started in January. And as of last time I hung out with them, they were at $200,000 a month. And they consistently do it every single week like clockwork. So just do it. Yes? Exact same webinar, word for word the same. Yeah. Why don't you automate it, Russell? Okay, let's talk about that, because that's going to be the next conversation all of us smart entrepreneurs want to do. All right. So this is why you don't automate it. First off, no matter how good you are, how good do you think you are today, you are better tomorrow. Okay? If you look at the Funnel Hacks webinar, again, I've done it 60 some odd times live. Every single time at the end of the webinar, I export all the questions and I read through them. Every time I'm like, wow, people are confused about this. Wow, and so I tweak the script and I change it and I add things in, and every time it gets better and better and better. First time I ever did it was at first, I wrote the webinar pitch. I flew out to speak at Mike Philson's event. Never done it before. I did the whole webinar, and it did awesome. We closed 33% of the room, ran to the back, and they signed up. And I was like, "We got a home run. This is gonna be big, right?" And the next day, I was flying out, and I met this lady in the lobby. And she's like, "Your presentation was so great, man. I wish that I sold a supplement because I would have loved to buy ClickFunnels." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, you sold supplement funnels. I don't have a supplement, so I can't buy ClickFunnels." I was like, "Really?" Like, "Well, what do you do?" She's like, "Well, I sell. I'm a coach. I'm a life coach, actually." And I was like, "Well, you can sell coaching through ClickFunnels." She's like, "Really? How?" I'm like, "You just make a coaching funnel." And she's like, "Are you serious?" Because me and 3 of the other women all wanted your thing, but we don't sell supplements. I'm like, "Yeah, you can use it." So she went and grabbed her 2 friends. They came up to me with order forms signed and handed to me when I was walking out the door to fly home. And I was like, wow, something in my presentation made people think that they had to use supplement funnels. So I went back to and I had like 6 slides in there. If you guys have watched my presentation, if you haven't watched my presentation, you should watch it. Joel Irway told me he's watched it like 30 some odd times, and now he's killing it on his webinars. Like watch mine, watch Liz, watch anyone who's got the webinars down. You should be watching them over and over and over again, because you'll understand language. Actually, do you want to just talk hey, who's got the microphone? Can you run it down real quick? Do you mind sharing? She shared with me earlier today, and I was going to wait till like Saturday, but it kind of fits right here. Talk about so she's got a webinar. She finally did first time a couple weeks ago, crushed it, and talk about what you told me out here about modeling and how you do with mine and Liz's and everyone's, and just I want everyone to understand that process.
Okay, so I've done lots of marketing in the past for this particular product, which is called the 10-Minute Tutor, which is a product that is an online video-based product that helps children who have fallen behind at school learn to read and spell and catch up really, really quickly. So I had tried lots of things in the past to market it, and I decided that I was going to find the thing that worked and just do that thing really, really well. So I came along to our masterclass meeting with Russell in June, and everyone was giving us suggestions as to what we should do, and Russell jumped up and said, "I just want you to do this webinar, and I want you to start here," and he drew it on the whiteboard, and I got Kaylin to video that for me, and I went home and I was like, right, so I need a webinar that works. So I looked at all of his information on how to create a webinar, firstly, in our members area. Then I thought, well, Russell's got a slightly different product to mine. Obviously, it's a software product. Mine's more a program for helping. So I looked at what Liz Benny did, because she was the female figure, and I basically put I had 2 videos going simultaneously. I had their 2 PowerPoint presentations going simultaneously, and then on the screen I was writing my script. So when I saw a trial close come, I was like, well, I've got to put a trial close in here. And when I saw, future pacing, I was like, well, I've got to put future pacing in there. And it was that specific. I really was that specific. And I tweaked it to my own personality, and obviously had to be my own words. And yeah, I basically just followed it. So I ended up with 133 slides because I'm a visual person and I like visuals anyway. And I ended up with about 75 pages in total on a Word doc, which was script, slide, script, slide. So I knew the exact order that everything had to go in. And so I literally read my first webinar word for word, but I had read it so many times. I was so familiar with the content. And on that first webinar that we did, we actually just did it to the Australian market at that time. I think we had about 220 register. I think about 60 turned up. I think about 44 stayed on for the entire webinar, even though it went for 2.25 hours. It was way too long.
Currently not.
But yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? And then of those, we had like 14 sign up, and then we had more sign up. And then the next one we did, we had like 35% sign up, and we had more people because we did more advertising. And we just did another one yesterday, which was just a replay, but of course I was here in the States, so still waiting to get all the figures on that one. But just incredible success. But I hacked to the extreme hack. I just literally went, these guys have made it work, therefore they've got the recipe. I'm going to do exactly what they did to the letter. So that's how we did it, yeah. So
awesome.
Good.
Give a round of applause. Is that awesome? Thank you. What's that? What was she selling them for? He wants to know what your price point was for your course. $497. Cool. Cool. So that's the we've kind of proven the model over and over and over again. If you're not watching mine over and over again, and Liz's and anybody else who's had success with it, you should be doing that. Watch what they're doing and understand, because there's part that's the technical parts or language patterns. There's a whole bunch of things like that. And the more you watch it, the more you're going to pick up these intricacies and be able to start making them your own. Okay, and we're going to talk about a lot of those this weekend, but yeah, it comes back to your question. So yes, we do it every single week, the same webinar live. We're bringing new blood into our business every single time, consistently, over and over and over again. Anyone comes to me and is like, hey, I got a business, I'm at $2 or $3 million a year and I'm stuck. First thing I tell them is that's the reason why. You're stuck. Shakir messaged me today actually. He's like, I'm stuck at this level. I'm like, because you're not listening to what I told you 6 months ago. Do the same webinar every week, week in and week out. It brings new blood in. And on the back end, you saw all your other things, but it comes down to having one consistent message that's happening over and over and over again. Yeah. I try to move pretty quick on it, especially at the beginning. The beginning phase, you get the most of it, right? After I spoke at Phil Sims' event, I came back, tweaked my slides. The next Tuesday, we had a webinar. I did it in the morning, and we had a good audience. I think we did 30 grand in sales, and then I exported the questions. There were tons. I saw 3 or 4 parts where people were definitely stuck on things. So I went back and tweaked the presentation. We had another one 4 hours later, and 4 hours later, to a smaller audience, did 130 grand in sales just by making those tweaks. And then so each time I'm doing that, but eventually, I'm at the point now where I know all the questions are kind of it's kind of in fact, Joel Lavey wrote something on Facebook that's dude, I just watched a webinar. He's like, every objection was handled before I even had it. All these things. And I was it's because I'm watching this over and over again. And there's a point in a time where you can take it and you can automate it. But I would try not to do that until you're on vacation and you're leaving, right? I especially I keep doing it live for myself because it keeps me sharp, keeps me understanding what people want, and keeps I want to feel the pulse of the market so I understand what's happening, because the markets shift. I watched, how many of you guys came into the Amazon selling machines thing when that was the hot thing a couple years ago? Okay, that was amazing. One of the biggest, it was the biggest product launch in my world's history. It was crazy. And it lasted 3 or 4 years, and now the market, that offer does not convert anymore. There's cycles that happen. So it's if you're not watching that cycle and filling it out, it'll change, and you just got to be, anyway, the more that you're engaged in it, the more you'll be able to keep up with it, make the tweaks and changes that you need. All right, so there's the model. All right, now we're dumping into section 1, you an expert. All right, so a couple things. First off, this is for those in the group who are nervous about putting yourselves out there. I know that Most of you guys are very confident in yourself, but I know there's a percentage that aren't. And my guess is that more of you guys aren't than are, even if you act like you're not. I still struggle with this. I think most people do. Myron Golden, who's in our inner circle group, at the last meeting, someone got up on stage and was talking about the thing, and Myron like slammed his hand on it and said, "You're suffering from a condition I call it's just me-itis." And then and I started laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing. Is like, that's one of our biggest problems. All of us is like, well, it's just me. Like, it's just Russell. Like, if you ask my wife, she's always like, why do people want to take pictures with you? It's so weird. I'm like, I know, it's just me. Like, I don't get it either. And most of us, like, we have this perception because it's just us, right? You are just who you are. But the reality is, like, we have to get over that. And so what I want to do, I think it's the next slide. Okay, so first thing is overcoming it's just me-itis, you guys. It's time for all of you guys to step up and take that on, right? The things that you guys have, the experiences you had through your life, were given to you as a gift so you can help other people. I honestly believe that. That's why I'm here. I'm not someone who typically likes to be in the limelight. You can ask my wife, every time she comes to these things, she's like, you talk so much, Russell. Don't people get annoyed? I'm like, I don't know. But I believe in what I do, and I know that you guys do as well, and it's a big part is for us to be willing to do that. Second thing, all right, the other thing that a lot of us struggle with is whatever it is that we are super good at usually comes really natural, right? For me, like to sit down in front of a whiteboard and sketch out a funnel, it's like second nature. Like I don't even think about it. Yet for other people, that's like a superpower, right? So you have to understand that whatever it is that you are really, really good at, you're probably going to discount it as not that valuable because you're so good at it. That's kind of the reality of what happens to most of us. And so you have to understand that whatever your superpower is, just because it comes second nature to you, it does not come second nature to other people. And so that's kind of the conundrum we have is like this thing in your mind is not that great, but the reality is it is. And it can change other people's lives, and you have to be willing to understand that. And some people are saying, well, I don't know what my superpower is, Russell. I'm stuck. Like, what is this thing that I should be doing? So my question for you is like, during your free time, like, what do you geek out on? Like, that's the secret. Like, whatever it is, like, when your boss isn't looking and you're, like, checking it out, or when your spouse falls asleep next to you, you're like, sweet, she's asleep, I can check out. Like, whatever it is that you're geeking out on, like, obsessed with, like, that's probably the thing you should be focusing on. Like, that's where you need to go. Because to be successful in this expert business, like, it's got to be something you are totally passionate and obsessed with because there's so much that goes into it. Eventually, you're making videos, writing webinars, you're talking to people, you're coaching. Like, if it's not something that fires you up every day you wake up and you're just like, God, like, I want to just do this, it becomes really, really hard. So you have to figure out, like, what is the thing that you love to geek out on? That's probably the direction that you need to go. All right. Now, one thing to understand is there's kind of usually this journey that most of us go through. Okay, like normally, and I'm going to talk about this when we get to the Epiphany Bridge stuff, I think tomorrow, but most of us, like, we start in a spot, right? And something happens in our life and we get excited about a topic, right? And so we become a student, we start reading and studying and learning and applying and doing a bunch of stuff, right? Think about the times in your life you became great at something. You know, I think about wrestling was a big time for me. Religion, there's a big time for me. There was business. There's times where I had things in my life that I totally started geeking out on. I became a student. And there's one part of us where, like, it's really fun to grow and to learn intellectually, right? But us as humans, like, growth is one piece of the pie, but if you're just consistently growing, like, you can't reach, like, maximum happiness. Like, for you to be completely happy in this world, there's two parts. There's personal growth and development, and there's contribution. Okay, and at first you can't contribute until you've got something, until you've actually gone through that process and learned and actually become who you need to be. But after you become that person, the next transition now is, how do I contribute? How do I help other people? Okay, so that's key to understand, is that this is the path and the process that we've got to understand and be willing to do. Because as much fun as it is to sit there and read all day, because I would love, like, nothing more than to go sit at a beach and read books all day long. But the whole time I'm reading books, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, I got to share this because this is amazing. Like, my 56 hours in a flight the last 3 days, like, I learned so much amazing stuff that I can't even wait to share with you guys. Because, like, that's part of it. Like, we grow as a human, but if we don't contribute, there's not much value in our growth. Does that make sense? And so that's the natural progression that we need to all kind of look at. And that's kind of where we start focusing on this whole becoming of an expert. All right. Next thing I'll talk about real quick, for those of you guys who are nervous about, like, what if I'm teaching and someone asks me a question I don't know and you're freaking out? The key to this whole business is understand, like, you don't have to know everything in the world to stand up and say, I'm an expert in this business. How many of you guys have seen the movie Catch Me If You Can? Okay. How many of you guys read the book Catch Me If You Can? Okay, one person. All right. So the movie, Leonardo DiCaprio plays a character in there. I think half my example is from Leonardo DiCaprio movies. That's kind of weird, actually, now I think about it. Anyway, in that movie, he plays a con artist, right? And the con artist does a whole bunch of stuff. He becomes a heart surgeon. He flies airplanes. He does all sorts of things. And in the book, there's a section that's not in the movie, but in the book, he actually went to BYU, which was the first school I went to as a college student, and he taught an entire semester as a professor at BYU. He showed up as a student. There was no teacher in front, so he stood up and he just grabbed a book and started teaching. And in the book, they asked him, one of the investigators later said, how in the world were you able to teach this advanced level class to an entire group of college students and never get caught? And he said, well, it was easy. All I had to do was read one chapter ahead. Okay, and that's like the key. Like a lot of you guys think, well, and I can't tell you how many of you guys specifically I fought through on Voxer with this concept. Like, well, Russell, I'm just not ready. Like, I'm still trying to get these things in order, and like, I got to go through these other training. As soon as I get certified, then and like thing after thing out. I'm just like, look, you're ready now. Like the reality is, you're already 2 or 3 or 4 steps ahead of everyone you're ever going to be serving, and so you don't have to freak out about that. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything. If I would have started coaching internet marketing today, guess what would have never happened? All the success stories that came along this path. And they weren't perfect. Like, I was learning and having ups and downs along the way, but because I was willing 10 years ago to say, look, this is working, I want to contribute and share this with other people, so many good things have happened because of that. So that's the big thing, is just understanding that you're already a step ahead now, and you just got to keep staying up, keep geeking out, keep focusing, and staying one chapter ahead. And the last thing I want to share is that I honestly believe that the reason why God gives us talents and hobbies and skills, again, is not for us just to geek, is just to make us feel good about ourselves. It's the contribution part. And I think I heard Jay Abraham was the first person I heard say, he said that if you honestly believe in your product or your service, and you have a moral obligation to share it with the world. And I believe that. This is not my comfort zone. Some of you guys probably think Russell likes being in stage. I don't. Like, this is not my comfort zone by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I just want to be at home with my kids. Like, that's like my comfort zone. But I feel a moral obligation. 56 hours, had one day of like 6 hours of sleep, and I'm here with you guys because I know that something I share with one of you guys hopefully will go and help other people, and that's how I feel, and I hope that you guys feel the same way, that you each have a moral obligation. The gifts you've been given, I feel that if we don't share them, if we don't contribute, the same person that gave us these gifts can easily take them away. And so it's important for us to put those things out there. All right. So one of the books I was reading on this trip, I think I brought it with me. Okay, cool. So those who came to an inner circle meeting over the last 4 or 5 months. So one of the big themes we talked a lot about was focusing on building your own culture, right? Do you guys all remember those conversations? Okay. So a couple things. Okay. Here is you as an expert. You see my drawing. Okay, there's expert, right? Okay, if you're an expert and you're standing there and nobody's listening to you, what good is it? Not that good, right? So there's 2 pieces of this, right? There is you as an expert who's got something to share, and then there are people down here that you need to share things to, right? And so there's got to be people. There's got to be a movement. Any business that's based on this thing, it's all about, like, you're trying to start something bigger than yourself, right? You're trying to start a movement. And so one of the books I read this weekend that was amazing, it's called The True Believer. Any of you guys read this book before? I've read it a couple times. It's been a long time, but it's all about thoughts on the natures of mass movements, like how, and so it goes deep into like cults and like how did Hitler create this mass movement? How did other things do it? Like, what are the things and the key elements that make these mass movements happen? And I think that it's important for us to study and understand those things, because you as an expert sharing your message is good, but if no one's there to listen, it doesn't matter. If you can cause people and influence change and get people to follow you somewhere, like, that's when you can have really power to help change and affect people's lives. Okay, and so anyway, recommend this on your reading list. But I'm going to be talking about some of the core things that I pulled out of the book that I think are very, very important, because having true believers, people who believe what you say and follow what you do, is what will give you the most impact while you're here during this life, right? Eric Hoffer? Yeah. All right. I'm going to go deep into that here in a second. Before I do, I want to preface this piece right here, because this will help put all the things together. So in the .com Secrets book, one of the things I talked about in chapter number 1 was this, the secret formula. I wish that somebody would have grabbed me when I started my business and stopped me like day one and said, like, Russell, understand this first, and then you can go on your way. Because they didn't. I came in here and I started my business. I started like doing stuff, started selling things, had some success, and went crazy, and I think 5 or 6 years later, I remember waking up one day. At the time, I had a company with 100 employees. I was miserable. We had all sorts of issues and headaches and people, so many people. I should never be allowed to manage 100 people. But anyway, somehow I woke up and we were there. And I remember waking up that morning and like, not only the staff and the team we'd built, but at the same time, like I had a bunch of customers that we were servicing that I was not passionate about. And I remember laying there in bed this morning, and this was like the worst feeling ever. Have you guys felt that before? It's like, I feel like there was like a heavy, like a lead, you know, you go to the dentist and they have those lead things. I felt like I had this lead thing on my chest and I was laying there. I'm like, I don't want to get up. And I remember sitting there and just like sighing. So I'm like, I had to be at the office like in 30 minutes, whatever it was. And I was like, man, and the thought that went through my head is, I wish I had a boss so they could fire me so I wouldn't have to go in today. That is not the thought you want to wake up to. If you wake up to that thought, you picked the wrong business. You did this wrong, right? And luckily for me, over the next 2 years, not because I wanted to, because of crazy economic times, I was forced to reset that business and start back. And I had a little window there where I had a chance to think through this. And I thought, after that experience, I was like, I need to be more strategic this time. I'm not just going to like have customers come to me. I want to understand like who do I really want to work with? Like who are my dream clients? And so that became step number one, is like who do I want to serve? Okay, and I want you guys to understand that, because if you're going to be focusing on getting people to follow you and buy from you and people you can influence, if you don't know who that is, you're going to get some crazy wackadoodles coming and following you. Okay, I promise you that. Okay, there's a reason why you guys here in the audience are here. The reason why the certification people are there, like, if you look at that, like, it's very strategic. If you saw the people who used to come to our events a long time ago, they were not you guys. So we sat back and said, look, we only want to focus on entrepreneurs who have businesses, people who are ambitious, people who have vision, people, like, that's who we want to serve. And so that was our first thing, is who do we want to serve, right? And then we figured out, like, where are those people at? And we figure out what are the bait we can create to get those people in. This stuff will go deeper in this weekend. And last thing, the results, like where do we want to take people? Okay? And so I want you thinking through that, because I don't want you starting a mass movement with a bunch of crazy people that will make you miserable. I really want you to strategically think, like, if I could pick my dream client, who would that person be? And be very, very specific. I didn't think it was possible. When we first started this process, I was like, I don't think it's possible to get this level of people into our room with it, like to focus on those kind of clients. But I didn't really care. We just did it anyway. And because we did and we just ran with it, it shifted our whole business. And it's been something where now, like, I wake up in the mornings. Like this morning I woke up, I was so excited to come hang out with you guys. Like, I don't know about you, but I was just like, all my friends are flying to Boise. We're going to hang out. It's going to be so much fun. Like, and that's like the right way to feel, right? Like, that's the difference. And so it all comes with this, is understanding the secret formula and identifying and figuring out who your who is, okay? Okay, so that's number one. All right, now that we understand that, when you figure out, like, who is this person I want to serve, okay? And this is some of the stuff I got from the True Believer, is understanding, like, what's the vehicle of change that I'm going to need to get that person and help them to change their life, right? That's what I'm thinking through. And so in the book, it kind of goes through this, and I always like read a whole book, and it's really confusing to me, and then I sketch a bunch of things, and eventually I sketch something, I'm like, oh, I think that's what they meant. So that's just kind of like the book in 3 little stick figures is kind of what I got, right? So there's 3 core things that are essential to create any mass movement, okay? And if you have these 3 things, it'll work. If you don't have these 3 things, it won't work. And so if you look here, I was going to draw it, but it's already on the board. The first thing you need is a charismatic leader or an attractive character. Okay, we've talked a lot in the past about attractive characters, being a charismatic leader, but that is the key. To start any kind of mass movement, there has to be somebody that people are following, okay? I would have loved to launch ClickFunnels and just sat at home and hid behind the scenes, but it wouldn't have worked. If you look at right now, like, our biggest competitors are people like Lead Pages and Infusionsoft. And if you look at, like, growth curves, like, it's amazing. And what's the difference? How many of you guys know what the owner of Infusionsoft, how many of you guys know what his name is? 3 of you guys? How many of you guys have ever been to an event to go see him speak? 3 of you guys. Was it awesome? Sounds good. You guys like, okay. So that's the big thing, right? Like, if you want to start a movement bigger than yourself, like, that's a big piece. There's got to be that piece. Let me see. Okay, a couple things. If you look at, there was a movie in the 80s, and I don't remember the name of it. It was this movie about a rock band, and they were on the road doing all sorts of stuff. And one of the quotes in the movie that was really, really cool is that the lead singer or whatever of the band, he came back and he told the other guys in the band, he said, look, our job in this business, he's like, we're rock stars. Like the real job in this business is we have to live the life that our fans wish they could lead. Like that's our role as a rock star, right? And that's why rock stars do all these crazy things, because like all their fans, all the people in this mass movement looking up and like, wow, like I want to be a rock star. That's why we are as a culture obsessed with celebrities, right? Like we want to live their lives. That's why there's the paparazzi and everyone's freaking out about who's marrying who and who's getting divorced, who's splitting it, because like they're living these crazy lives and their fans, this culture, all these people are looking and they want to live that same life. So you have to understand that you as the person, if you're gonna become the expert and take on this mantle, like you can't just sit behind the scenes and hide. Like you have to come out and share things with you. How many of you guys are following me on Snapchat? Cool, guys. So I've never done this before, and so I got Snapchat, and it's been interesting. I watched probably 3 or 4 people's videos, and I was telling Dave this morning, like Dave's, I watch his, I watch Stu McLaren's, I watch a couple people. The people's that I watch, like I feel so connected to those people. It's crazy, it's weird. And I'm curious, for those of you who are watching Snapchat, any of you guys feel a different connection with me because of that? It's weird, huh? Like you see behind the scenes, and like you meet my family, you see how I live, you see like all these things, and it's like you build this different connection. And it happens on Snapchat, it happens on podcasts, it happens through events, it happens through video, like all the things you're doing, you're sharing the stuff with people. It's not just to share things. And a lot of times, again, like me, I'm very introverted in my real world, and it scares me to share these things. But by opening those things up is what gets people to trust me and to like me and to want to pay attention. And so for all of you guys, like it's gotta be something, it's hard, but you gotta be willing to like open those things up, because if you want to inspire change and be a vehicle of change, that's the first piece there is being willing to be that person out there.
What were you drinking with your daughter?
Wake Shake. Yeah, it's his product right there. Should we sell some right now? Who wants some?
I got a discount.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. All right. Another thing my notes here was like is figuring out how you can make a movie of your life. That's why I like Snapchat thing. I feel like I'm making a movie of my life. And it seems weird. My wife, it makes her so mad. If you watch her on Snapchat, I'm always like trying to include her, and she's like so mad at me every time because it drives her nuts. But it's part of it. Like it's opening that up so that you guys feel like how many of you guys feel like you have a personal relationship with me? I'm curious. Like that's the key. If people don't, then they're not going to follow and be inspired and change. Like that's a big piece of it. Okay. So that's number one. A couple other things tie that. So I think I've got 4 points on this, or a couple points. So first off, they've got to be fascinated with you, right? Second off, they have to feel that they share common values with you, okay? So if they don't feel common values with you, which is a big reason why like I don't share everything about my life, because there's some things I believe in that some of you guys would be like, whoa, and you'd freak out. And I need to share common values. So I share things with the mass market that are common values that the majority of people will relate to, right? And so you sharing things like that. The next thing is that the people that are following you, they have to believe that you care about them, and you should care about them. But they have to believe. If they don't think that you care about them, they're not very likely to follow you or listen to you or any of those things. How many of you guys honestly feel like I care about your well-being? Good, because I do. Like I stay up at night because it worries me. Like it's a big thing. And so your people, like they have to believe you care about them. Like that's such a big thing. If they don't believe that you care about them, they're not going to follow you. Okay, so understanding that. And they have to get value from the relationship they perceive they have with you. And so they have to get value, but the big key you have to understand is they have to get value as they perceive it. Okay, Liz Benny, when she launched her high-ticket program, she called me. She's like, Russell, I'm so frustrated. These people join my high-ticket program and they're not doing anything. And she's like, what do I do? And I told her initially, I said, look, this is the key you have to understand is that everyone perceives value in a different way. I'm like, Liz, some people, this may be weird to you, but they paid you $25,000 and they don't want to learn anything. All they want to do is they want to hang out with Liz. Like, that's it. And so you have to be okay. You can't, and I know Liz, like she's a workaholic who freaks out, who's always like pressuring, and like that's how she perceives value. But I'm like, but that person's not perceived value by that. Like you putting that on them is going to make them freak out and actually move away from you. They just want to be part of it. It's interesting. When I first launched my first mastermind group ever, Bill Glazer, who was one of my first mentors, he told me, so the biggest thing you'll learn about running mastermind groups, he's like, everyone's there for different reasons. He's like, some of you guys are here. He said, some people are here because they want to learn. He's like, Russell, that's you. Like, I come and I want to take notes like crazy. I want to get everything I can. He's like, some people want to come and just show off. And he's like, Ryan Dice is an example of someone who just wants to come and show off. And Ryan doesn't the same mastermind group as me. He's like, Ryan wants to come and just the whole time wants to tell you everything cool that he got. So he's like, Russell wants to learn, Ryan wants to show off. He's like, some people want to come just hang out in the group. They don't want to learn or be held accountable at all. He's like, there's that one. And there's a couple different things. He's like, you have to understand like why people are there, because if you're coming and you're trying to like force someone to be accountable and they just want to hang out, you're going to lose them. And so you have to help them receive value in the way that they feel value. Okay, so if we go through those 4 points, sorry. So point number 1 is they have to be fascinated with you. Point number 2, they have to feel they share common values with you. Number 3, they have to believe that you care about them. And number 4, they have to get value from the relationship they perceive they have with you, and as value as they define it, not as you define it. Okay, so those are some of the pieces on the charismatic leader and the attractive character. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2 now is there has to be a cause. There has to be something that they are becoming part of. And we're going to talk a lot about this when you start creating your actual offers. This is key in how you create the products and services you sell, is understanding this piece. If you miss this, it makes it way harder, okay? So they have to be bought into a cause. All right, one of the quotes from the book, The True Believer talked about, he said, when people have fear of the future, it causes them to lean against and cling to the present. Okay, so if they have fear of the future, they're gonna be happy and complacent where they are right now. Because if they're afraid of the future, they're not going to change. Okay, so your job as leaders, the second step here is if they have faith in the future, then they're going to be very receptive to change. Okay, so when I am speaking to you guys, when you're speaking to your audiences, if they're afraid of the future, they're not going to move. Like the future needs to be bright. If you look at the presidential campaigns we're in right now, as horrible as they are, if you were to take away the personalities and just look at the branding, because there's some good branding with some really bad people behind every side of it. Like I'm not going to pick a side because I'm not even voting this year. But like I look at Donald Trump, this whole "Make America Great Again." Like that's very future oriented, right? It's very much like hope, because people have hope, they will move. You can be a vehicle of change. If they don't have hope in the future, they're not going to move. Okay, so that's a big piece of it. The second thing is that people, they want to cast their faith in something else. Okay, most people are, if they have to rely on themselves, they won't, right? They want to cast their faith in something bigger. If you look at any mass movement, there's something. If you look at religion, right? People are casting their faith into something bigger than themselves. Okay, that's what makes things like that work. And the thing they're casting their faith in, it can be a lot of things. It could be a community, it could be a product, it could be a system, it could be a lot of different things, but people want to cast their faith in something bigger themselves, okay? And it's not necessarily casting it in you as the expert, but in the movement, like what is it you're trying to do, okay? If you look at us, like with ClickFunnels, with our business, I mean, when all said and done, we're a software company, right? We're selling a website builder, right? I've tried very, very hard to not make us a website builder, to make this a community, to make this bigger than that, right? How many of you guys feel tied to that community? Like you feel like you're part of this thing, right? If you look at, we are middle of filming filming an online reality show. And if you look at when that comes out and you watch the intro video of like what's it called? The part of the show where it's like the little intro, the trailer. Like when you guys watch the trailer piece, you'll notice that I'm doing a lot of these things in there. I'm setting it very clear and defined, like us versus them, and I'm doing things to get people to buy into this movement and where things are going consistently. You'll hear that message now over and over and over again, because we're trying to get people to buy into something bigger, to buy into the future. So that is a big piece. One more piece of that, like one of the big goals is to help move. When you're showing somebody a cause, right? Well, the cool thing about people following a cause is that they're taking personal responsibility off their own shoulders and putting it on this other thing, right? Like that's one of the biggest things about this. And so for all of you guys, think about like how do we create a cause, right? And then the third piece of this that causes change is a new opportunity. People, if you're trying to get somebody to follow you and do something, like what people are looking for is a new opportunity. Okay, and I'm going to go really deep into this because there's a whole bunch of pieces and I don't want to mess it up. If you look at the traditional corporate business world, people come in at the bottom, right? And you naturally start ascending up, right? How many of you guys have gone through the corporate ladder? Is it inspiring and exciting? Okay. It's interesting, in the book, there's a couple of quotes in here. It says that practical organizations offer opportunities of self-advancement, right? So business, right? You start at the bottom, you start self-advancing. He said mass movements appeal not to those who intend advancing their cherished self, but those who want to get rid of their unwanted self. So people that follow mass movement, they're not the same kind of people that are just trying to work the corporate ladder. They want to get rid of, they're not trying to improve themselves, they're trying to get a new self. And that's what you start understanding. This is where we're going to get into the offer. Most people do not want to become better what they are. They want to start over something new. Okay? And when you start making that differentiation, we're a bunch of stuff to help you guys understand that. When you change that, and this ties into how we create our offers and our products and our services and how we do everything. When you understand that we're creating a new opportunity as opposed to trying to make somebody better. Instead of moving them up the corporate ladder, we're telling them fire your boss and come over here and join us over here. That's the key. Okay? All right. So the first thing I want to mention, and this is one of those things that will help you guys when you're creating the products that we're going to be selling. So I want you guys to understand the psychology behind this. So first thing is basically there's two different ways you can go when you're trying to sell a product, right? The first thing you can do is try to sell something where whatever you're selling is going to fix them, right? How many of you guys sell a product that fixes somebody? Like they're broken and you're fixing? Okay, a couple of you guys. Next one is improvement. How many of you guys sell a product that helps improve your customer, makes them better? Okay. How many of you guys are selling a whole new opportunity, a whole new thing? Okay, so a couple things to understand. So if you look at what is the better thing to sell, right? Over here on the side we got repair, we got improvement. Over here we have new opportunities. Okay, new opportunities weigh things out, or weighs way better. I want to explain why. Most people have desire, they want change, they want something different, right? How many people do you think have ambition? How many of you guys feel like you're ambitious people? Okay, so just you are not the majority. I would say about 2% of the population is ambitious. Okay, they want more, they want to improve, they want to fix what they have. 98% of the audience is not ambitious. So if you're selling something to here, we're going to make you better, you automatically cut out 98% of your audience instantly. Okay? You lose them, yeah. Because most people have desire, they don't have an ambition. So when you try to sell to ambitious people, it's really, really hard. Because the market's so small. Now for you guys, you're ambitious, that's why you're here. But again, that's why we have these funnels, right? The ambitious people come to the end and they spend more money, they're higher ticket, but they're not the masses. And so if you're creating products to sell to ambitious people, and if you're not having a lot of success, that's a big aha. It's because people are not ambitious. People have desires, so you have to focus on the desires, not the ambition. Otherwise, you're cutting out so many people. Hoffer's book was talking about the nature of mass movements, and so if you look at my notes right here, one of the things he talked about, I'm writing, I'm in the car in Kenya on the bumpy roads and I'm writing stuff. So he talks about the desire for substitutes. And I wrote improvement versus replacement offers. So there's two types of offers that you can make, okay? There's the improvement offer and then there's a replacement offer. Whenever I'm creating a new product, I'm thinking through these things, right? So the improvement offer is how to make things better. And then the replacement offer is I'm going to give you a new vehicle, a new thing. Okay? The new thing will always outconvert the better thing. Perry Belcher, he explained it this way. This was my favorite. Totally inappropriate, and I apologize. It's coming from Perry, not from me. So he said, if you look at improvement offers versus replacement offers, just think about this, right? You are a married man, and you are with your wife, or you're a married couple, and you decide that you're not happy. You got a couple options, right? Different things you can do. So number one is you can cheat on your wife and get a new girlfriend, right? There's number one. Number two is you and your wife can go swing and now have multiple couples, right? Or number three, you can go to couples counseling. Which one would you guys like to do? Okay, that seems easy. That seems like a lot of fun. And then counseling. Okay, counseling is painful, right? Okay, horrible analogy, but it's actually a really good analogy. But I want to say that because a lot of you guys are selling improvement, right? You are selling counseling, and that is a hard thing to sell because it's pain, right? For me to have success in counseling, I have to move through pain. For me to have success with replacement offers, right? The mistress swinging, that's replacement offers, right? For me to go that direction, there's no pain and disconnect. It's all moving towards pleasure, right? Okay? So hopefully that visually will get you guys understanding this. Yeah. She's like, what are you talking about? So the key though is to understand that is that for you, for your clients, for anyone, is understand what is it you're actually selling. Because if you're selling an improvement offer, you are you are targeting the 2% that are ambitious, cut your market into almost anything, and there's pain. Like you are moving through pain to get the sale. Whereas if you transition to what is the new opportunity for these people, it's like night and day. If you look at, I've got a lot of friends who are like they're like the guru businesses, right? So like chiropractic gurus, dental gurus, things like that. And one of the things that a lot of them try and have different levels of success, but it's harder. It's like, hey, let me help you to increase your practice and get more people in, right? And in their mind, they're like, okay, cool, like I do want a bigger practice, I want to make more money, but if I get more clients, means I got more work, and like there's this big thing of like, wow, like I can increase my practice, but now it means I increase my workload, and there's all this pain, right? And so like a lot of dental gurus and chiropractic gurus, things like that, is that they push that way, they sell that way, and there's resistance because in the person's mind, like it may seem like that's what they want, but it's not really what they want. Like they want something more, right? And so if you look at those guys, a lot of times they will go and they'll sell like investment opportunities to dentists, and it like blows up. Like they make way more money and those kind of things because it's like it's a new opportunity. Like you're a dentist, so therefore you should invest money here. Things like that. So it's looking at your people, right, and figuring things out. All right. Okay, a couple things now. When we look at like the creation of new opportunities, the first thing that's nice about new opportunities is that there's no pain of disconnect, right? I'm gonna keep coming back to this horrible example because now we're there. But for me to like, if the whole wife thing, right? If I'm going over here, there's no pain of disconnect. If we're swinging with my wife, I don't have to go through divorce and all issues or counseling. There's no pain of disconnect when you're moving into a new opportunity. Okay, if you're trying to improve someone's situation, there's a lot of pain there, right? They have to go through. So there's no pain of disconnect. Dream replacement. It helps them to fulfill the original dream. A good example of this is any kind of like doctor, dentist, or anyone, right? They have this dream when they get started, right? Like I'm going to become a dentist or whatever, and they go through all the school and they go through everything. This dream, what they want to do, and when they all said and done, they end. And they got their practice and they're doing it. And it's like, wow, this is a lot of work. I got clients, I got headaches, I got people, and it's like this thing's happening. And they had this dream to be a dentist, right? And they wanted to do that. And so for you to come in and say like, look, we want to make this better for you. The first thing is that when you tell someone like your thing you have is not good, I want to make it better. Like, what do they think in their mind? It's like, well, I'm not very good at this. Like it starts putting on all these like these pressures for them. It makes them. Let's see. I had a couple other notes here that are kind of cool about that. It reminds them of the bad decisions they made in the past. If you think about that, like from any of these examples, from a wife, from a business, like you take some of that thing, it reminds them of the things they've done wrong in the past, and there's a lot of pain and disconnect there as well. But as soon as I can come and say, look, like we're moving away from like making you better and shifting to like a new opportunity, a new change, that's where you get people's buy-in way easier, okay? When we launched ClickFunnels, it wasn't like, hey guys, we're gonna help you to grow your business. It was like, hey look, everyone's doing this over here, here's a new opportunity. You can fire all your people, you can get everything. This is the new opportunity. It's funnels. It's this new thing, right? When we're going to designers now, one of the big segments that we target with ClickFunnels are designers. And designers have been doing business this way the whole time. I'm coming in, I'm not saying, look, I'll make you a better designer or anything. I'm saying, look, you're a designer. Right now you're doing stuff in Photoshop, things like that. Let me show you a new opportunity. You take your design skills, and over here you start moving them, and you can build in funnels, and all of a sudden, boom, you're way more successful, right? I'm looking at like the segments I go after, and I'm figuring out how can I make a new opportunity for them. With the product or service I have. Because when you can understand that piece of it, that's what comes back to this vehicle of change. Like, this is the key. This is how you create a mass movement. It's not by trying to make people's lives better. It's by giving them the new opportunity. So for your businesses, for your products and services you guys are selling, I want you to think that, like, what is the new opportunity that you can offer people that's different? Okay, that's not an improvement offer that only the ambitious people are going to be excited about. What is the new thing that you're offering that's going to take somebody and completely transition them into a new opportunity where there's no resistance, there's no, like all the things they want to do are there. It's fun, it's exciting, it's new, because that's what people want, okay? I doubt very many, well, anyway, that's the key, is understanding that you're offering someone a new opportunity, okay? So again, for us as experts, I'm looking at this as like, if we want to be experts, we need to create mass movements. To create a mass movement, these are the vehicles to change. We have to have a charismatic, attractive leader. You have to have a cause. You have to get people to buy into this cause. They buy into the cause, and then the opportunity needs to be a new opportunity, okay? Those are some of the big pieces. Any questions about those at all? I know for me, it's kind of hard getting this out. It's the first time I've ever taught this, and I'm kind of stumbling over some of the things, but hopefully conceptually it's making sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so what's interesting is that the analogy that you're playing with really lends itself to the entire dieting industry, because no one wants to think, oh my gosh, like I just need to get better with my Atkins diet. They're like, clearly Atkins isn't working. I need to do Weight Watchers. Oh, no. I need to do low carb, and people would rather switch tracks completely, right, than just be like, I guess I need to just do better with my photo journaling.
Count my calories,
get deeper with writing things down. Like, no one wants to do that. They just want to say the system is wrong and switch to something new.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
Right?
Thank you for that. Perfect. Cool, so for your guys' businesses, it's the same thing. You gotta think that, like, what is the system that you have that you can, what's the new opportunity? So what I'm gonna do right now, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take a 15-minute break right now. Well, I'm going to take a break. Before we take the break, you guys get your notepads out. What I want you to do is I want you to just kind of sketch this out while it's top ahead. I want you to think about this, a couple things. Is first off, maybe draw like this little triangle on your back, and I want you to think, okay, first off, this. And I think the charismatic leader, most of you guys, is probably you, so that one should be easy. Second thing I want you to think about is, what's the cause? Like, what is it that I'm bringing people into? Because if you don't have a cause, if you don't feel like there's a cause, then they're not going to be engaged in that thing, right? You look at, again, the Funnel Hacker TV, I'll kind of spoil it for you guys. Maybe we'll show you guys the trailer during the break or something. Because it's kind of cool, but like for us, like the cause that we're really coming out with, yeah, I'll show it. Should we show it? I'm really proud of it. We haven't showed very many people yet. It's pretty cool. So the cause though, like the big thing is that, in the trailer, you see like we're branding ours, like the whole thing's about Funnel Hacker TV. It's like we're funnel hackers, and it says us versus them, where it's like, look, should we just show it? Screw it. I wonder if I can find it real quick. Okay, well, I'm pulling this up. So I'll find this real quick, hopefully, and then I'll show that. So think about that is like what is the cause that you're pushing people to? The last thing is like, what's the new opportunity? And think about the way Bonnie positioned, I think, was way better than the way I positioned it with my whole marital thing that I stole from Perry. So let's stick with Bonnie's. Is if right now if people are doing Weight Watchers, like what's the Atkins? What's the next thing? Where do we shift people to on that? That's a great example of why Prove It blew up. Everyone's on these diets right here, and when Prove It came out, it's like, hey, you should drink ketones. Just imagine it's the new opportunity that's caused a mass movement. So that's another perfect example of that. My name is Russell Brunson, and I'm part of an underground group of entrepreneurs that you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on cash from venture capitalists to get started, and we don't even have goals to go public either. In fact, our motivation is the exact opposite. You see, we have products and services and things that we know change people's lives. But because we're fighting against the big brands, people with literally unlimited budgets, we have to do things differently. We have to do things smarter. We don't have financial safety nets because every test we take is with our own money. We have to be profitable from day number one. So how do we do that? How is that even possible? If you ask the MBAs or look in your college textbooks, they will tell you that what we are doing is impossible, yet it's happening every single day. And it's happening through an art and a science that we call funnel hacking. It's not really something that I can explain to you, it's something I have to show you. These stories are a glimpse of entrepreneurs just like you who have a dream and a vision who want to change the world in their own little way. I use the funnel hacking process to help make their dreams become a reality. Yes, we are funnel hackers, and these are our stories. Boom! All right, is that exciting? Do you guys want to see the first episode? So do I. It's not done yet. It's going to be amazing, though. But you see how we incorporate all those things? Like, okay, I come in as an attractive character. The future, like, this is what's happening. These are the things, like, we're part of this underground entrepreneurs, right? This is a new opportunity. We're taking things. It's not what you learn in school, what you learn in college textbooks. With us versus them, like the venture capitalists, like, we don't do what they do. We're different. We're separated. Anyways, all those things kind of tied together. So this is the assignment. We've got 15 minutes. Do this, take drink and bathroom breaks. When we come back, we'll go in the next section. But I need you to know what is your cause and what are the new opportunities that you are offering people. And we'll come back 15 minutes. A couple of you guys can share.